Make sure you hang with me till the very end because I'm going to give you a video walkthrough of apartment 213, just as Jeffrey Dahmer left it. All right, guys. So I first want to say that I really hope you stick around because later on in this video, which is just about 4 minutes from now, I'm going to show you some raw footage from 1991 of the Club Lacage and Club 219, where Jeffrey Dahmer hunted young African American men. I'm even going to show you an early 1990s bathhouse. So anyway, here we are. We are in Milwaukee. Summer of 1991. The city had about 600,000 people in it. It was a booming factory scene by day, but after dark, you would find dive bars, underground nightclubs, gay bathhouses, higher crime, and lower income neighborhoods. But few people knew the monster that was walking amongst them. It's pretty crazy. I mean, he has to be the worst of the worst. So anyway, a lot of people know the story about Jeffrey Dahmer, but I've got a couple minutes here before we move on, and I figured I would just recap it for you. So just under 3 miles from downtown, Jeffrey Dahmer lived in a second-floor apartment on North 25th Street, and I'm going to show you that, okay? Including a walkthrough. Between 1978 and 91, he murdered at least 17 young men and boys, committing crimes that went completely unnoticed by neighbors. In May of 91, police were called to Dahmer's apartment on a report of a disturbance. Inside, they found human remains in a refrigerator and freezer, dismembered body parts stashed in containers, and detailed photographs of the victims. He was arrested on May 28, 1991. So yeah, at trial, Dahmer pled guilty and used the insanity defense. He explained how he lured victims from bars like Club Lacage and Club 219, and then killing them and keeping those body parts as trophies. And then in February 1992, he received 15 consecutive life sentences without parole. It's pretty insane that you can see the city at this exact time. I know he worked at the Ambrosia Chocolate Factory and he would pull all-nighters. He had such a bad drinking problem that, he was barely making it, showing up late. He only got paid enough to, just pay the rent and a little bit of food. He had very little money. He was very isolated. And just the world was closing in on this guy. I know his father visited like once or twice. There's a couple of pictures of him sitting in the living room of his apartment with his dad. But little by little, family stopped even looking in on him. And he personally liked it that way. That way he could go live out his fantasies and do the horrible things he was doing. So let's take a look at some of the nightlife that was going on in Milwaukee at that time. are back. So in 91, this block showed a lot of age, which is right around the time, around the area that he lived in. Many buildings were boarded up and street crime was on the rise, and factories were closing, jobs were disappearing, and residents began reporting foul odors coming from a certain apartment at the Oxford Apartments. So we're coming down to where his street is. Left-hand turn. And then up here on the left is where the Oxford Apartments used to be. Gonna pass it, turn around, and then we'll do a still shot of an actual picture of when the building stood there at precisely the same spot I stopped it at. Okay, so right to the left of this house, straight ahead. Right there. That is where apartment 213 was. Jeffrey Dahmer lived and committed his crimes there. The building was torn down soon after his arrest. Today, only remains is that alleyway right there and those telephone poles. Pretty crazy. Okay, so here's the kitchen for a pre-rendered 3D walkthrough video created by the incredible YouTuber Richard Altenbach. Go check out his channel. We'll go back to the kitchen in a second, but here is the family room. On the living room table sat a Polaroid camera beside over 80 photographs showing victims at various stages of dismemberment. A stereo system held cassettes of soft rock albums. He would play these albums to calm his captives before sedating them. Personal items like watches, rings, and empty beer cans, they lay scattered, and faint carpet stains hinted at where he had cleaned up blood with bleach that was found right in front of the sofa, futon, whatever you want to call that thing. We're swinging around back to the kitchen. Interestingly enough, I was curious what he had in his cabinets and fridge, because that's just me. He had 3 jars of pickles, a jar of Dijon mustard, 2 containers of applesauce, and a half-eaten TV dinner still in its foil tray. Under the sink, a plastic storage bin held skull fragments and bone shards, and the cabinets contained soup cans, peanut butter jars, cereal boxes, bags of chips, and cleaning supplies like bleach and ammonia. He had unopened mail addressed to Jeffrey L. Dahmer, and a note by the empty fish tank said, "Feed fish at 7 p.m. It was a really old note because he had no fish that were alive in that tank. It was only a 1-bedroom apartment with a small bathroom. There's a short hall there, and look at the door. He had like a pocket door that had the chain on it, and that was to, I guess, lock people in, make it more difficult to get out. I feel like I could have unlatched that. It doesn't look like you need a key for it, so... Here's the bathroom. There were empty prescription bottles and a hypodermic needle. He had sedatives, and a funnel and tubing in the medicine cabinet matched the neighbors' reports that he used those for clogged drains, and that was like part of his excuse for the smell that was coming from the apartment. In the tub also, you don't see it there, but there was a claw hammer with smears of blood on it, and dried pooled blood in the shower drain. Let me come around here to the bedroom. He had a nightstand drawer that was overflowed with so many Polaroids of guys in various undress. He had a 57-gallon drum which held torsos soaking in acid in it, and you're going to see that when the camera turns around. He also had a guide to anatomy that was opened. And in his TV was The Exorcist 3, sat on a very low volume, playing when the police got there. Its remote, the remote for the TV, the batteries were removed, perhaps to prevent accidental interruption. And it said he had a lot of like photographs of men on the walls just to make other guys feel more comfortable when they came in the house to get their picture taken. And then 2 skulls were on a shelf, along with sedatives and other various toiletries. He also had very few clothes, like just a few items. And I don't think he was very clean and did his laundry a lot. As we circle back here, there were empty food packages in the trash, bait paid for with small bills, and the living room carpet showed faint bleach stains in 2 dark areas where blood was scrubbed away. Here's the bleach on the floor and scattered beer cans, just as he had left it. So eerie. Here's some boxes of muriatic acid on the floor. I often think about these guys, you know, just, I can't imagine what it was like to be in their homes that night when I got home after being at this crime scene, and like how unbelievable it was what they saw. And how sick they felt, like literally sick. Like these guys were taking turns throwing up and then going back to work and then throwing up again and going back to work. Because what they saw is just how grotesque and how absolutely gruesome these crimes were. And then to go home to your wife and kids that night and have to probably hold that in, right? Like you're not going to go home and describe that to your wife and kids and leave that as their, leave that picture in their brain. Many of them struggled for years, like had PTSD. It's really crazy. So we all know that he went to prison, and he didn't last long. He gave an interview, and you can find that interview easily on YouTube. He was remorseful, but admitted that he needed to be locked up because he just would have done it again. He couldn't control his urges. And, he was a high target in that prison. I mean, not only because of what he did, but the notoriety of being the person to say, I took out Jeffrey Dahmer. And that's exactly what happened. He was in the bathroom, cleaning the bathroom. I guess that was his job in prison, and somebody went in there and just bludgeoned him. I think a guy like Jeff is like a rarity. And I don't mean that in a idolatry way. I mean, it's just like a perfect storm. You know, a certain temperament you're born with, a certain upbringing. His mother was mentally ill. He was confused about his sexual identity. Thank you for watching our channel. We so appreciate our viewers. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share our channel. And join us for the Moms for Justice live podcast twice a week on Mondays and Friday nights.